there are rapid transitions happening, and the 10th lecture of the Conviv series is offering a way to approach this transitional time. It's the third. The third is actually a urban design concept, but we can apply this nuanced approach to design, to public policy, to community development, and to economics. The third is essentially public spaces, designing places like a library and a playground, places where people can convene, and the service offering in these third spaces is alive. Think of a playground. A playground, there's so much dynamic things going on in the playground. Likewise, in a library, there's the customer service, there's cataloguing the books, there's all different types of books, there's a living system in there, and it's a service offering, and all the time there's experimentation happening on how to lay out the customer experience in a library. So let's apply this kind of third space knowledge to food systems design. And I want to also clarify, as an important aspect of this lecture, is the third methodology can be informed by Conviv, by a life systems theoretical lens or philosophical lens. So let's move out of this mechanical way of doing public policy and move this into a living systems way of doing public policy. And then imagine the public library, and imagine the public playground, the third, their living systems. So we're already doing this as part of public service provision in many ways already. So we know the methodology, we know the practice of it. So I just want to offer that up, that we already do Conviv, service delivery. Now we need to apply that to local food systems. And this requires a shift in the mindset, and we're moving into that relational space. So think of a customer service person again in the library. It's a very heart-centered role. A lot of people who are vulnerable go to the library, and there's very skilled people in libraries to spot people who are vulnerable and be responsive relationally to in that environment. Okay, so we need heart-centered leadership, bridge creation, nuance in the way that we're designing this next phase of food policy. So we're sort of stepping out of the office, so to speak, and that more abstracted world, and we're stepping into a life system. So on one hand, it's scary, but on the other hand, it's absolutely a joyful process and a really exciting journey to go on. So we drop into our heart space for this. And as I was saying, the mind can take over. There's bondage, there's institutional norms about how we are shifting into this new service provision and life systems lens to see food as civic infrastructure. And there's resistance to change and all of those aspects, where I've already equipped you in previous lectures with strategies on how to redirect briefs and how to do that in gentle ways and actually create really great outcomes for your institutions. But it's just something to keep in mind. And I think go back to this heart-centered leadership, heart-centered compassion, that there is change happening. So not to get too stressed out, just do those practices, as I say in lecture 9, of breathing and well-being to shift the culture, that create this cultural renewal that we desperately need to see in relation to local food systems. And of course, there's going to be anxiety. Is this going to work? Is this the right way to go? And I think we have to keep anchoring ourselves in life systems philosophy, life systems theory. It's science. We are in a living whole of planet Earth, and communities are living. Environment, the ecology is living. Our bodies are made up of cells. It's life. And so food, agriculture is a life system. We're managing intricate, resilient life systems of food and people that are relating to those food systems. So we just have to anchor ourselves in that very ancient knowledge that we're on the right track if we stick to the whole way. Focus on the convive way, the whole way of approaching this shift that's going on. So the mind, let's drop out of keep the mind, keep the design and the strategy in action, but drop into the heart space and have compassion when we come up against these roadblocks and institutional blockages and anxieties. And finally, there's new horizons, and the new horizons are the third. If we keep on course of the whole way, keep anchoring ourselves in life systems, philosophy and theory, the science, and this is the direction. What emerges out of this shift is a new horizon, a new way of doing public policy in relation to food systems. And it's a joyful process where we see food as civic infrastructure, where communities are consulted and co-designed with, because they are part of the life system, and land is heard. The land and our food systems are heard for the first time in such a long time. And that also means, as I've mentioned in other lectures, that there's new praxis professions that come about from this transition. And those praxis professions, they're fun. They're so much better than sitting in front of a computer writing a strategy document. They're actually facilitating design process, which is creative way of doing. It's service provision. It's creating joyful opportunities for people in places. It's regenerating our land, which has been crying out for over probably 150 years to be tended to, and it's putting things back together through this third way, through this whole way. We have new horizons. It's not smooth sailing necessarily, but if we keep anchored in the whole and our hearts, the challenges during this journey of the bondage and the anxiety overcome, because in fact it's the course correction is the whole way, which is putting things back into balance of what they always have been, in a with life way, a conviv way. That's my 10th lecture, and I hope you enjoy it. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It means a lot to support Living Earth College in that way. And also share this lecture with people who might be interested in this knowledge. And I'm very keen to collaborate with communities, with organizations, with governments, and offer my methodologies on that high level philosophical level, but also on that really, let's just get down to co-designing new service provision for communities, and whether it's food boxes or food hubs or community gardens or whatever it may be, that is what is needed in your community, that will be emergent. And that's the beauty and the joy of the creative design process and design-led policymaking, which is a service that I offer. Thank you, and we will see you again soon.